Let's do this. Zach Sang Show.
Camila Cabello is here in the studio. Please give it up.
All right.
Oh, I am so happy that you're here.
I'm so happy that I'm here too. The last time we saw each other was a year and a half ago, or maybe more, and you were on the other side of the road, my friend.
That's right.
Why did Zach Sang cross the road?
To get to
the other studio.
That's it.
Wow.
All right, we gotta stand for that. Let's stand.
That was
But
good.
oh, thanks. And you guys have the different lights now and the setup. There's a cat pillow.
Yeah, there is. You like the cat pillow? A lot of people gave me hate on that pillow when I first brought it in.
Why?
Again, they don't get me all the time.
But is it because they're dog people?
That might be it.
That really could be it. But Dan, I thought you were a
get
cat
that, but-
person.
I'm just an animal person. It's just,
I'm an animal person too. I definitely prefer dogs, though. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm just gonna be honest with you guys right now because it's an important.
You once
thing.
said hi to my dogs.
Really? I'm telling you because I'm a dog person. I'm actually half dog, half person.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Breaking news. What part of you would be dog if you were half a dog? Would it be like a tail?
Probably the top half.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, because that would be weird, right? Because then I would be like a what's it called? A centaur?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a horse.
These vocabulary words that are
These
coming
are
out
big.
of this interview, they're nice.
By the way, we're going to put a definition at the bottom just in case you don't know what a centaur is.
Oh yeah, centaur is bottom horse, top
Human.
man.
What kind of dog would you be if you were a dog?
I would like to be a golden retriever.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
Wait, is it the coat? Is it the color?
Well, I think they're just so sweet. They're so adorable. They're so sweet.
And they're liked by everyone.
They are. I'm not.
That
But
I want to call bull squash on right out the gate. People,
like bull squash. It's
people.
nice.
That's a Dan creation.
Nice.
Thank you.
Love it.
People love you. You got it. Like, let's be real about that.
Aw.
I'm reading interviews with people like Charlie XCX, Ryan Tedder. I watched Demi Lovato today. Talk about you on her live
That
stream.
made me smile so big.
She's
It's so
gonna-
amazing.
She's gonna cover "Never Be the Same."
I love her. That literally made my day, and she's so supportive of me. She's so sweet. It's the nicest thing ever. Because she's the only when I started posting YouTube covers when I was 15, and her song is the only cover that I left on.
Really?
Skyscraper.
What was it about Skyscraper in your performance of that you were like, this can stay?
Well, Demi was one of the girls that I looked up to when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I was a huge, I was a big Demi Lovato fan, and I loved all of her songs. Even like the deep cuts, like For the Love of a Daughter.
Whoa.
That
that just brought me back.
what was the album? Unbroken?
Yeah.
It was Unbroken.
Yes.
That was, I think, I was obsessed with that album. And I was also obsessed with, early Demi Lovato, like Trainwreck, La La Land, like when she was with the guitar.
Yeah, baby.
And the black and red
Dude, this is Jonah's
Paintbrush?
Demi tour era.
On the Line. I
Yeah.
literally could name you all of the songs on that album because she actually really influenced me in how I sing.
Is it the belting style? What is it? Is it Control?
Well, she used to do a lot, like especially on that first album, like on La La Land and Trainwreck. She would be like. Oh,
that breath.
The punk rock
Yeah.
kind of
Love
like
it.
Yeah.
La La Land machine.
Yo, I feel like I'm listening to the record.
Well, yeah, that was such a good album, right? But
Really
the way that she sang that thing, I still do it. all
Does
the
she
time.
know any of this? Have you told her?
I don't think so.
Well,
Because I don't know. I don't really. Because you brought it up, it just brought me into my thought process when I saw the Instagram live. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I remember that Disney Channel song that was like, send it on.
oh my God, for the world of change. Yeah, and they all come
Yes.
together.
Wow.
Of course.
That was Disney's golden era.
Oh my! And Zach and Cody are in it.
Yeah.
Dylan Cole and everybody comes
Selena,
together.
Miley, Nick, Joe. It's like the whole gang.
That was like
there.
Disney Channel Games era. Do you remember every summer they would come
Stop, the
together
Disney
and
Channel
compete?
Games. I remember when Selena and Nick sat together on the bus.
Oh,
and
no.
everybody like lost their minds. They were like, "Oh my God!" It was fun being 12.
Do you miss it? I mean, like,
Yeah, I do.
Right? There's a simpler
different-
time.
Actually, you know what? I used to get really sad about growing up. And I was just like, man, I'm so sad that I'm not going to be a teenager anymore. I'm so sad that I'm not going to be a kid anymore. But I feel like actually every era of your life has a different special thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I get that.
So, but yeah, there's definitely great things about being 12. There's this innocence, and there's also this, you just dream a lot.
Do you still dream now?
Yeah, I still dream a lot, but it's different about different things.
I mean, let's dive into Camila. In my opinion, I think you're going to get nominated for a Grammy off of this.
Oh, thanks.
I think it's an incredible record.
That's
album,
really
I'm
nice.
sorry. But
Thank
the
you.
records on it are amazing.
Thank you. That's really nice. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Dude, it's so, I feel like I was with you over the last 4 years. I'm listening to it and I'm seeing you in every song, and it's just, the stories are vivid. The messages are clear. And I do feel like top to bottom, the album tells a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I right there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they lead into each other?
Yeah.
They're connected?
Yeah, I think, the track list definitely has, starting with Never Be the Same. It's like this very kind of powerful introducing message of just, things happening in the course of the past couple years that have changed me. And I feel like every song, I'm proud of the track list and how it flows. I feel like it gives you time to settle in a mood and then think about it and then go to the next mood.
It's a journey. It really is, top to bottom.
Thanks.
And you're diving into this because it's a collection, right? You have credit as a writer on every song, but some songs started in different places. Some songs, I'm sure, started with you.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different artistry that went into making this album, right?
Yeah.
Like on a couple different layers. So I want to dive right into Real Friends.
Yeah.
How did that song come about?
So Real Friends was the last song that we wrote for the album, and it was crazy because it was, it started off with this chorus idea. Then the next day I wrote the verses and the bridge super fast, and then a week later it was out. Which was nuts. It was available for pre-order. And
does it make you nervous when it's coming out that fast?
No, it's nice. I love stuff where you don't have to think about stuff and you just
let it go.
That's actually something I miss about being a kid, which I work on all the time.
Is just
less thinking, more doing.
That's it. Not being attached to the things that you might put out there.
Yeah, and just not overthinking stuff. Just do it. Just do it.
By the way, easier said than done, but with maturity comes that ability.
Yeah, but you definitely have to train yourself to just be just let it go. I remember the day before my album came out, I just had this nervous breakdown. I was like, we have to, I can't release this album. Call Roger. Just stop. We can't do it. Pull the red button. I can't do it. It's not ready. There's other songs that it needs. This, and that. And I just had to tell myself, just let go. Relax. Just do it. Don't overthink it.
And that's a beautiful thing, because this is, like I said before, this is you. This album is solely reflective of you, and it is scary to put that out.
Yeah, for sure. And especially because there's always something that I feel like I could be doing better, no matter what. Whether it's, I can't name one thing that I was like, oh yeah, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always been like that, and I think especially more now. Which
would you say is a good thing or a bad thing? Because I'm of the belief that comfort in your talent and ability and not wanting to get better kind of makes you plateau. You just kind of chill there.
It's definitely a bad thing for your craft. Sometimes it can get hard though, because other people can enjoy it more than you do, because you're always thinking about the thing that you could be doing better. So it's definitely, it's not the best for being like, oh yeah, because you can never fully celebrate a moment, because there's always a thing that you could torture yourself about, But you got to tell yourself that you shouldn't, and you can't. You have to tell yourself to just let go. One of the songs is called She Loves Control, and I just always think about, because I'm such a control freak and I love control, and sometimes part of the beauty in life is just letting go of that control and just being like, I'm just gonna enjoy this.
And is that something you strive for in aspects in life? It doesn't need to always be in career, right?
100%.
But it could be in personal life too, friends, relationships.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially when you think about love. Love is the opposite of having control.
Yeah, you're right.
You have to totally give that up in order to be open.
And you got to feel okay to give that up to certain people.
Yeah, and that can be scary, but you just have to kind of force yourself to just give that up.
And let's go back to Real Friends. Relationships start sometimes getting to know somebody.
Yeah.
And listening to Real Friends, my heart breaks, but I also understand the situation you're in. how hard is it right now in your life to make real friends? And do they exist in your zone?
I feel like that was basically about a moment in my life where I was here in LA, and I don't know why, but I'm just not the biggest fan of LA. Like I just don't love it.
Yeah, it's gross, dude.
Yeah, I really don't. I hate it.
What the city really is built on is gross, and you can't trust the person next to you.
Yeah, especially because everything is so industry related, and you just can't. I just found myself going to the studio, and I would just go home, then I would go back to the studio, and then I would go sleep, and it was just hard to make friends with people because you're so entangled in this thing that sometimes you can love somebody as a friend, and then they do something shady in the business side, and you're like, oh, and you're just confused
because the lines are never drawn out; they're always blurred.
Yeah, and there's always. You have to try to not get cynical, but there is always, when you're meeting people in this environment, there could always be an intention. There could. Doesn't mean that there always are. I've met really amazing people, too, in the music industry, but it was just kind of a moment where I felt like I just kept getting disappointed, and I was like, ugh. You know what I mean? It was just one thing after the other, and I was just like, I need to get out of here. I hate it here. And honestly, that's why I still live in Miami, because I feel like, when I'm in Miami, I have, my family, I have my best friends, I have friends that I went to elementary school with, that I hang out with.
Your people.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like they don't need anything from me. They don't want anything from me. And they don't even look at me as a, as a singer,
Camila
whatever.
Cabello, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
You're just, which, by the way, like, I also feel like in a weird way that could really be one of the reasons for real long-term success, because the more you stay out of
100%
the pit, right, and you stay with people who care about you and love you, you stay true to yourself, and then you can evolve as a real human being without being
and you can have real human experiences, because you can't write about human emotions if you're in a place where it's dehumanized. Because I feel like when I watch, for example, I've been watching Sex and the City, right?
You binged the whole thing.
I binged the whole
I'm sorry
thing.
that it's over.
I know. Well, I have one more season left, 6B.
Okay, good old 6B.
But when I watch that show, and when I, the conversations that I have with my mom, with my family, with my friends, and the conversations that I have at after parties at award shows, I'm like, why is it? It's so crazy, because as artists, you have to be real, and at the same time, it feels so hard to just be real with each other. You know what I mean? A lot of times you go to award shows, nobody even talks to each other, and you're like, why? We have so much in common. We have so much to talk about, and it doesn't just have to be like, hey, congrats on your album. It could be like, oh, what's going on? Is there anything happening?
We're human beings.
Yeah.
How was your day? Simple questions like that.
Do you feel like you have trouble being real in front of these people?
Not really. I actually get really excited when I am talking to somebody about just not music related stuff, like real stuff. But I do have friends in the music industry that I feel like I can do that with, so I'm really lucky to be able to, like, for example, Sean and I, or Taylor and I, even though we will talk about music, it's a lot of the conversations are like, oh, so, what's going on with this girl, what's going on with this boy, whatever.
That's a healthy balance of friend and professional, because if you're friends with somebody, I believe that you're invested in who they are all around, right? Yeah. Like my best friends, I care about what they're doing at work. I care about what's going on in their lives personally and professionally, and how's their mom, and you care about the person, and a human being is not just work. They're not just, what happens at home.
Exactly.
Sean, I saw his tweet the other day. Congratulating you.
He's so cute.
How often do we hang out together, you two?
Oh my gosh, it's so crazy, because we never hang out, but we're always texting. We're always talking on the phone, but we're never in the same place at the same time. But we're always texting, like, about just random stuff.
See, that's a quality friendship.
Yeah, we talk about Harry Potter, and he'll tell me, I think he was working on his album, and he said that he needed help because he was going to sing a line in Spanish. And so I voice memoed him the correct pronunciation.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I love Sean. He's a real He's a real friend. I actually sent him my album before it even came out.
So how many weeks before release did he get this album, and did he
It was
soak
like
it
2
in?
weeks before, because you also have to be careful with leaks.
Yeah, Shawn Mendes. I hear he's a leaker.
No,
no, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, iCloud, all that stuff.
Yeah, the internet. Somebody's always watching.
Can you imagine?
Did he give you notes back? Like, do you
Well,
talk to him after?
Yeah, he told me his favorite songs. His favorite song is Inside Out.
Wow,
Yeah.
good record.
Yeah.
Were
Oh,
you surprised by that answer?
Yeah, 100%.
What do you think he would choose?
I thought he would choose like All These Years
Okay.
or, some of the more singer-songwritery
Got
kind of
it.
stuff. Because Inside Out is like, I don't know. I can actually now I can picture him doing his weird salsa dance move.
I'm gonna say it has a flow to it.
Yeah.
It's-
Can you imagine Sean just
Just the tiny moves in the little box.
Yeah.
Just the shoulder moves.
yeah, killing it?
Did Taylor get the album before it came out too?
Well, because I don't know. We hung out right before it happened. We hung out in Miami, and then it just kind of came out.
Just played it.
Well, because Sean was texting, he was like, "Oh, I want to hear it" or whatever,
Yeah.
and so then I sent it to him.
Got it.
But Taylor heard it when it came out, and she also. It's crazy with Taylor too, because it's amazing that I don't know. It's amazing that I have the opportunity to to have people that super inspired me when I was growing up. That when songs come out, they're like, "Oh, I love this song."
It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
That-
it's
that's-
crazy because I totally am like, oh, they're too busy. Like they're not gonna.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't. This is
They're not
fine.
gonna listen to my album.
Yeah, but when Never Be the Same and Real Friends came out, she was like, oh, I love these songs, and she wrote me this super super sweet like letter when my album came out. So I'm actually really lucky. I do have a few like real friends in the industry for sure.
But it takes a minute until you get there, right? Like there's
Yeah.
it's like it doesn't just happen, you get to know
Yeah.
somebody before you
And
fully let them in.
I also don't even feel like it's the industry. I feel like everybody has had a situation where, one of my best friends, Jenny, she moved from Argentina a long time ago, and she was like, I remember when I first came to the United States, the song made me cry because I felt the same way. I just felt like I kept getting disappointed by people, and I missed my friends in Argentina, and I didn't feel like I could really relate or really talk to anybody, and and I felt like that in 9th grade. Like I feel like everybody feels that. I mean, maybe not everybody. I don't freaking know, but it is. I mean, how many real friends do you have in your life? I feel like
maybe
it's very few,
maybe
right?
maybe 3.
Yeah, it's
right?
very few that you can really be like, I can talk to you about anything. I can count on you for anything. You're going to be there, good and the bad times. Like
Yes.
that's a few special people that the universe like designs for you.
That and it's handpicked throughout life. You gather them.
Yeah,
and people
100%.
come and go, but you need to be
100%.
okay with the going.
Yeah,
I've had to convince myself that
yeah, it hurts, but it does end up teaching you a lot.
it does. It really does.
Yeah,
Why did you only choose 10 songs for the album?
because I didn't want any fillers.
Okay.
Because I feel like when I
Hell yeah.
Because I feel like when I listen to an album, you could
You know them.
you know them, everybody. You can tell obviously. Oh, this is the best song, and this is like the C version of that song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Singles only.
yeah, and so I had a lot of those that sounded like another version of In the Dark or another version of All These Years, but I was just like, I just want to choose the best one from all of those things because I don't want you to have to skip them.
Do you feel like you said everything on the album that you need to say in those 10 songs, or is there other songs you're like, I really want to say this, but it just doesn't fit?
Yeah, I definitely left some stuff out because there was definitely a bulk where it felt like something's got to give, or there's other songs, like there's a song called Scar Tissue, a lot of songs that were kind of about the same thing, but I just didn't want it to feel so heavy, and so I ended up going with just the version that I felt like best captured that feeling.
What happened with the Ed Sheeran song, "The Boy"?
Oh my God.
Was that a hard one to cut?
Yeah, 100%. Because I love him.
By the way,
it felt weird saying that.
Who is the boy?
He said you
The boy.
rewrote 90% of the song, though.
Well, yeah, I rewrote a lot of the lyrics. And the lyrics were actually so funny. And the song was so great. I mean, he's incredible. It just ended up feeling... It sounded like it was great, but it sounded like it was on a different album, if that makes sense.
I totally understand.
It didn't fit with it sounded like the one that didn't fit. That was made like at another time.
But you made it fit, or came close, or did it still end up not?
No, because I was listening to the track list, and then it just did not. It just was the only one that didn't go. But there was songs that I had to take off just because they didn't go.
Yeah.
Speaking of not fitting, why did you choose "Crying in the Club" as the first single?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, I feel like at the time I had this song Questions, and then I had Crying in the Club, and I had this idea to make this music video that was kind of like a story of how I went from the hurting to the healing to the loving, the tongue twister of a title.
It's beautiful though.
Thanks, the triple T. God, I'm so lame. But anyway.
No.
But it just did not, it was just, it felt right at the time, but I totally evolved from that.
Was that your choice to put that out?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if you're following that storyline, the hurting, the healing, would it? So if it first hits you in the club, that's when you first get overwhelmed with emotion.
What do you
right?
mean, like the crying? Like how does
Yeah, you had this visual of a video, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah,
like,
well,
it starts with the club.
Well, no, I basically liked, I liked the healing part of it and dancing and using music
Got it.
as a way to like release emotions. But the thing is, part of the reason I don't even go to the club. Like I hate the club.
I saw you at a club once.
Did you?
It was for a party though. I think that might have been one of the last times I saw you.
Really? Was it like an after party thing?
Yeah, it was a release party.
Oh,
It was,
got it.
Yeah, it was like, dude.
Yeah.
It's packed in like.
Yeah,
What
no.
was that? Oh.
Not right.
I don't know. What event was it?
No, it was just
I don't
a release party.
know. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the club sucks. People are screaming in your ear, and it's like you're dancing, and your friend is like, "Hey, want to go to the bathroom?" And you're like, and there's the ringing that you have the whole night after. I just don't. I'm
not
just not a
fun.
fan. I don't know.
What's your night out? What do you want to do?
Well, I do I love dancing, but I like dancing at home with friends. Like that's so much fun, especially when you're with girls and you have like a twerk party or whatever.
I have
and you're,
that.
like teaching each other
Every
like, it's
weekend.
nice.
Yes, always.
Yeah,
Still learning.
Relatable.
Dude, it's been a year and a half. We have a twerk party every Saturday.
Nice.
Still haven't mastered it.
Nice.
Is
It's
it-
okay. You'll get there.
Is
Thanks.
it cool though to make a song like Havana that's played in the club?
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's that's somebody's soundtrack to a great or horrible night.
You could go either
Hopefully
way.
great, yeah.
Who are these people that were telling you Havana wasn't going to work?
Was it radio people?
Well, it was a lot of different people. I obviously don't want to like.
You don't want to name names.
You were wrong, and you were wrong, and you're. Well,
they
seen the
were.
Oprah thing.
Yeah, of course.
You get a car, and you get or whatever.
You get fired. You get fired.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was just it was honestly a general thing. It was not even just one type of job angle. It was a lot of people that just didn't understand. But I don't even blame. I honestly don't even come at it from this like you were right because I don't you were wrong because I don't feel like I even knew.
Oh, come on.
To be honest with you, no, I
As soon
swear.
as I heard that song, I was like, yes.
I knew that I could, but I'm not a good person to. I'm never like the person that's like, this is a smash. I'm just not. I can't predict that. I know when a song is special and I know when a song is meaningful and when it's good, but there's been plenty of times, even with other artists, that I'm like, this was my favorite song off the album, or, this is. I love the song. I feel like it should be the biggest song in the world. It's so good, and nobody gets it. And
Yeah.
there's been other times where I'm listening to a song, and I'm like, oh, this song is the most special, and then it ends up being, a big song. But I feel like you just never know. I just know when a song is special. I don't know if a song is going to connect with people. I just know when it connects with me.
And obviously, Havana connected with you.
Yeah, for sure. I knew that song was special, and I was like, this is what I want people to see me as. This is a good representation of me because it's it's so me, and it pulls from all these different parts of me.
But where does East Atlanta come in? Because like,
It just
did it rhyme?
well.
I was trying to figure out if you were tied to East Atlanta.
No, no, I'm actually not. Even though
Not at all.
Atlanta's a great place.
There's
and
Miami,
it's right above Florida,
Mexico, Cuba, LA.
Is that why you chose Young Thug? Because he's from Atlanta, right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
it?
that was part of the reason for sure.
Oh.
Basically, East Atlanta, 1, it rhymed. 2, I feel like the song just kind of took off on this theatrical thing, and all of a sudden we were like, oh, what if, there was this guy that, was like this bad boy that I fell in love with in Havana, and then he took me to America, and we're hustling, and, I miss Havana, and, so it kind of...
I see it.
Yeah, so it kind of went into this storyline, which was really cool. That's a big part of me, too. Like, I love Smooth Criminal, Michael Jackson. Like, I love all of those, sorry, I haven't slept in 5 days. You have no idea. I saw this clip of me. I was doing this interview, and I have to show you, because I said 10 times, and I don't know what the hell I was saying, but I was like, and then the thing, but you know what I mean, but the place, and and I was like, oh my God, I need sleep. So by the way, if I say just raise your hand.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, because I'm trying not to say that as much anymore.
I'll signal you.
Yeah. What was I saying?
Well,
no idea. No clue.
We don't know.
We were talking about Havana. I want to get into the fact that you are everywhere right now. We'll get to that in a second. But back to Havana. Pharrell has... It's a cute pillow, right? Thanks. But I love how comfortable you are on the couch.
I am.
Thanks for embracing it.
There goes
Sorry,
the cat.
keep going.
Pharrell's vocals are on that song?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I know. He doesn't either. I'm just kidding. No, yes, he does. But basically, he was like, oh, you should do the ad-libs because, this was the time of skirt and like the
Those little noises?
incredible like rap ad-libs.
Yes.
And so
Incredible, sure. Yeah.
Well, they really hype a song up.
No, they do. I get it. And they're the one catchy
I love
thing that
them.
people are yelling and... Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was like, oh, you should do them. And then I was like, oh, yeah, could you just sketch them out for me? Because that would just not be cool if I did.
Let's hear it.
Hey! No, that was actually pretty good. But it's just not the same. Pharrell has this thing. He just has this magical quality about him as a person, but a little bit of that magical quality kind of oozes into his voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like when God was making Pharrell, it was like the sparkly glitter liquid. And so when he sings or when he talks, it just makes something
Does the glitter come out?
a lot more magical. Yeah, you
Yeah.
could see it in the air. Like he's like, hey. And there's actually this one ad-lib that he did before we put Young Thug on it, which is super cool. And it's not, I'm going to have to put it in the live version, but he goes, skr, 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 skr.
I like it.
How? I want to
He
know.
does it way better than that.
I like
See,
that.
that's why I didn't do him. And that's why I took him. And I was like, yes, put those in there.
Are you excited for the live shows?
So excited.
Yeah.
Because that's such an important part for me is live performances.
And your Jimmy Fallon performance was incredible.
Thank you.
The Ellen performance yesterday or today, whenever that was.
Thanks.
Yesterday.
It was that whole little 1950s thing going
Oh my God, that was
on.
so much fun. It was actually inspired by Jessica Rabbit.
Nice.
Awesome.
Have you seen that video? What's it called? Why Don't You Do Right? Where she's Jessica Rabbit.
In Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what the whole thing was based off of.
I didn't see this performance because I'm a loser, but were you in red? Did you, what was...
I wasn't in red, but if you see the video, it's the same thing. Like
Got
there's
it.
this part where she's getting the guy with the tie, and she like steps on this guy and she
Oh,
pushes his
yes.
face. And the whole thing was basically based on
Was that your idea?
it was me and Paul. Paul is my creative director, and so we were like brainstorming, and so we came up with that.
Dude, how much pressure is it to be different every time you do an appearance? Because you're everywhere right now.
Well, it's fun though. It keeps it exciting for me. Well, I think a big part of it is I think that I have not the best attention span. And so with everything, I get bored easily. And so I like to keep it exciting,
That's
even for
fun.
me. And also I like knowing what works and what doesn't,
Yeah.
you know, because sometimes, for example, I've learned so much doing the performances for Havana different every time because I've tried everything from, you know, just 2 girls on stage with me to a bunch of dancers on stage with me. And then I can figure out what works the best.
I get that.
And what fits me best and what my style is.
and
So
where you're the most comfortable.
yeah, for sure.
Guitar, I love seeing that on GMA.
Thank you.
It was cool.
Thanks.
I mean, like, was that the first time you ever played guitar live on TV?
No, on TV, yeah. But I had been doing it ever since I opened for Bruno last summer. So that was the first time that I did it. And it was super fun. It was super fun. That song is super emo. Loved it. I think it's probably one of my favorite songs off the album, if not my favorite. Not gonna lie.
Is there a song that if we listen to off Camila that we'd get the best idea of who you are as a person?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to say probably In the Dark or Real Friends.
What is the goal within the dark? Like, what are you asking? Do you want to get to know who they are at their most vulnerable? Do you want to get to know who they are when the lights are off and there's no more flashing cameras in front of their face?
Yeah, well, basically it was about this famous guy, and it was just kind of this observation of just what we were talking about earlier, which is a super common theme throughout the album, is just wanting to have like a real conversation, not just like a bull squash, right? Not like a bull squash conversation. And it's just talking about how a lot of the times I feel like people just have this performance personality, and then that's really it. Like, that's all that they have.
Who's the real them?
Because then when you try to actually talk to them, you realize that they are their facade. Like, they are
their character.
Yeah, but that's there's no, you know what I mean? Or maybe they just don't let you in. But yeah, that was basically just kind of me asking this person to just have an honest, to not be so perfect, to not be so put together. Because I feel like it's the isms and the idiosyncrasies. That's a long word, but I just...
That's a third long word you've used.
Oh, and I'm on no sleep. This is great.
Now you know that when you're 5 days no sleep, all the big vocab words start rolling.
That's great. Yeah, all the isms, all the weird stuff, that's what makes a person interesting. Like, you just don't want to just get lines.
Are you afraid to let people in, though, as well? Because, there's, these people not wanting to let you in, or them feeling like they've just kind of succumbed to their character or their public persona.
I feel like you can just feel automatically if there's a vibe with somebody, and then it just makes you want to talk to them. I mean, if there's somebody that, to me, is, I don't have any connection with, whether it's as a friend or, in love or whatever, then I won't pursue it.
Yeah, but what I like about you is you'll do an autograph signing in a banana costume, and you'll do interviews with like bare feet on, but then you can go on stage and turn the little sexy on or whatever you want to call it. I know that sounded weird.
Oh, thanks.
So I like how you have
thanks.
the two sides, and you're not afraid to show both.
Well, yeah, I feel like that was super important in this album, because I felt like, with Havana, I knew people would want me to do Havana Part 2 and Part 3 and Part 4 and Part 5 and have all of the songs be like these, bangers. But I just don't feel like that's accurate to me or to anybody. It's because then that would be just this one-dimensional thing, and
I get that. And a real artist showcases who they are, right? Because your struggle, like we've been saying this entire time, like real friends, that's not just Hollywood. That's anybody who experiences life or connections or consequences.
Yeah.
When you love so deep and you love so hard, whoever it may be, a friend or a relative, a significant other, there are consequences. There's baggage that comes along with that.
But I love how in that song, there's no regret in it.
Yes.
It's kind of just like acknowledging, now I'm dealing with the aftermath, but it's not like I should have never. It was kind of like this was so intense and crazy, and now it sucks, but it was still worth it.
When you first heard that song, what'd you feel? Like, what stood out to you? Because that was written by Emily Weisman, right?
Yeah, and Amy. Actually, Ed introduced me to her.
Cool.
And he hooked us up on email, and I knew that I had to, I loved that concept. And so I knew that I had to have it. And so I, worked on it, and I redid it 6 different times. That was actually, it was one of the first songs that I worked on. And it was the first week of January I worked on it. And then the version that you heard, I redid the vocals for the 7th time. I think it was in November. I redid it so many times because I really wanted to just capture it. And I feel like songs is a way of letting people in, if that makes sense. Even just being in a studio
100%.
And it's somebody that you don't even really know, and you're singing this, sometimes it can be awkward, and sometimes you can, not feel it. So I waited for the right moment where I was I don't really care who's in here. I'm gonna
do it. I totally get it.
How do you get in the mental state to record a song like that?
Well, I cut that song a few times with my vocal producer, and like I did the vocals with my vocal producer, and then when I redid the vocals, I just did it with an engineer, and I just did it. I just was like, okay, now we're gonna punch this part, now we're gonna punch that part. And so I just ended up using that because it felt to me like the most raw and
genuine.
Yeah, and I could just, it just felt better.
I understand
for
that
song.
Yeah, and you really, when you're taking on that song, you embody those lyrics. You embody. You have to be transported. You're not just taking on somebody else's lyrics. You're taking yourself to a place where you felt that and you've dealt with that.
Yeah.
Creating this album, was it hard for you to go back to those moments in your life where you've, dealt with struggle and you've dealt with, relationships crumbling around you and you've dealt with, you've dealt with a lot of shit over the last couple years.
Yeah, for sure.
And I say that with love and respect and admiration.
No, that's really nice. At first it was because I feel like I was just shy around people, just like anybody. Imagine somebody coming in here and you being like, to write a song, you have to be way more open than you would if normally you would tell somebody about the deep stuff going on in your life after knowing them for a little bit. But, with writing sessions, you're just like, oh, here it is.
Hi, how are you? You're about to know everything about me.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's deep.
Yeah, but it's also, at first, I just honestly felt shy. But I think once I found my vibe with certain people, then it was way easier to just talk about it. And I also feel like what you were saying before, like about letting people in, I feel like I used to be afraid of that, but I feel like now I'm not. Because I feel like now I realize that the best moments and the best relationships and friendships come out of just you being the most yourself and the most honest.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
And that's with confidence too, right?
Yeah,
exuding
for sure.
that out to the world.
For sure.
Well, like songs like Consequences, Something's Gotta Give, all these years, who are they written about?
Consequence, Someone's Gotta Give in all these years. They're different people. It's not really one person throughout the whole album. And some of the stuff are about relationships or people that it happened way before, and I just got the chance to reflect on it. Because I feel like there's always that person up until the moment, of course, up until you meet somebody else, there's always that person that when you think about love, you think about that person.
Yes.
So these aren't actual relationships you've been in?
No, yeah, they are.
They are, okay.
I'm just saying it wasn't necessarily in the present moment.
Gotcha.
Like I heard Frank played me the track, like the instrumental for Never Be the Same. And I thought of this person that I had a romantic relationship thing, whatever it was.
Can't even define it. Which I hate those because those end up hurting you the most sometimes.
100%.
Especially when you think it's one thing and then you find out and you realize that the other person thought it was something totally different.
Yeah, or when you really like somebody and they really like you, but then there's just... they're in a different place, but you really like each other, so it's hard to walk away because then you're kind of denying yourself the fun and excitement. So then you just do it anyway.
Yeah, see, I just had to do it, but I didn't give in. I walked away.
You
give in?
Well, I did, but then I walked away.
Do you wish you wouldn't have given in?
No. It was super worth it.
Really?
Yeah, because it ended up teaching me how I want to be loved.
That's beautiful.
How do you keep all this so private though? Because you haven't had like any big public relationships other than like Austin Mahone when you were 12.
Yeah, I know, and I hate when people are like, "Oh, this song is about Austin Mahone."
No, he wishes it was about him.
No, but it's not even that. It was just such a long time ago. But I definitely, I would never. I don't like to do the public thing because it's just. I feel like actually ever since that, I was like, I'm never doing this again.
Goodbye. But you're in Miami. You could really be that private. You can live that life with your friends and your people.
It's true. I feel like, and also, I don't know, maybe for me, maybe for artists that are, the huge artists, it's probably more difficult because I still feel like I can walk around.
I think this album took you from like a star to kind of like a superstar.
Yeah, but I can still... I won't get like mobbed if I go to the mall.
And you're okay with a couple people coming up as long as it doesn't get crazy.
Yeah, but I also feel like, in terms of my personal life and love and all that, I feel like it's important to have, and honestly, it's not even just if you're, in the music industry or whatever. I feel like just people with social media, like
Yeah.
it's nice to have secrets. It's nice to
Right.
have stuff that nobody knows. It's nice to have stuff that's just for yourself. It's nice to, have a night that nobody even knew about because you didn't take a picture of it. You know what I mean?
Yes, things still happen if it doesn't end up on Instagram.
Yeah, but it's also nice to just have those things that only you know about.
Yes, because then it's called personal.
And it's special. It's more special. And it's like, ooh.
What's your family's reaction when they hear a song like Into It?
Well, you know what? Luckily, my mom is totally okay with it because my mom and I are like best friends, and she actually encouraged. She's like, "You need to go out more. Like, you need to go. You need to meet somebody.
Get out of the house.
But my dad, I feel like when I play him songs, he can't pick up on the lyrics as well.
It says get into your king size bed.
Yeah, I know, but I wonder if he wouldn't know that if he didn't like read the lyrics to it. Like I remember Bad Things. It was like 8 months later, and he was like.
What is this?
He's like, I just saw the lyrics to Bad Things. I just read the lyrics. But whatever. I mean,
Hey, it's your music. It's your story.
yeah. I mean, but I feel like it's fine to, write about stuff like that.
Oh, of course.
Well, it's
that's-
life.
Yeah, exactly. But there is stuff that I'm like that I do keep in mind because I have my sister and she's 10.
Okay, so
And so
you're
it's like even if I swear in real life, I don't swear in songs
that's nice.
because
You're
she
catering to a
listens-
10-year-old.
Yeah, but at the same time, stuff like that, I'm like, there's no way I could be 20 and not write about that. You know?
But isn't that the amazing thing about music? That like a song to a 20-year-old could relate to a 10-year-old, and that same song could relate to a 10-year-old and could relate to a 60 or 70-year-old.
Well, yeah, because there are songs that I listened to when I was 12.
You
that
didn't know
I
the real
didn't
meaning.
know what that meant.
Yes.
I was like a promiscuous boy at like 12 years old, and now I'm like, what a fun song! Yeah, exactly. You don't even know.
I remember when Candy Shop came out, and my school sent home
Me
a
too.
letter to the parents.
What?
They were like, "Your kids might think that this song means candy shops, but in reality, it means this."
Kids don't even know.
No.
And like Buttons by Pussycat Dolls.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I was in
Loosen up my
third grade, like loosen up my buttons. Yeah, people don't even know. Even some Disney movies, you look back, or SpongeBob episodes.
Oh my gosh.
You look back
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're like, wow.
You can get into a hole on YouTube watching like hidden messages and Nickelodeon shows.
Yeah. Crazy.
What motivates you now? What keeps you going?
Well, this year my resolution is to just be more brave in life.
Okay.
So is that taking big life steps, like maybe getting into a relationship, or
Well, just
buying a house?
A lot of the time, sometimes I want to, on nights where a lot of the times, like I want to stay in and watch Harry Potter. Pushing yourself to go and hang out with somebody new and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
be comfortable with being uncomfortable?
Yeah, because I feel like that leads to more new experiences.
Yeah.
And also just taking more, making more out of my time. Like if I have 3 days off, don't just be in your hotel. Like maybe I could go somewhere. I could go to New Orleans for 3 days. I could, taking more trips. Like definitely living more life.
You just need experiences.
Yeah. Because the cool thing about also when an album comes out, it's like the end of this chapter, and all of a sudden you need to reload your memory vault. So it's literally part of your job as an artist
is to live.
Yeah, it's to go and just like do a bunch of stuff so that you
Have more inspiration?
Yeah.
What surprised you the most throughout this journey so far?
Ooh, what surprised me the most is all the stuff that in the beginning used to be so terrifying and scary to me is not anymore. And I feel like for example, stuff as simple as I remember the first interviews that I did for when my first single came out. I was so nervous. I remember when I first was on my first TV interview or TV performance. I was so nervous that I couldn't even enjoy it because I was so nervous. I would go to the stage gagging.
Because
that's
you
how
don't,
nervous I was.
It's the unknown. You don't know what they're gonna ask.
Yeah,
and
but I
get
think
it.
what I realized is once you do the stuff that you're scared of, it totally takes away all the power, and then you're like, wow, I can do anything. Nothing is really that scary. So that's definitely been the best thing. Like I feel like I can, I did Ellen, and if I would have done that a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to enjoy it because I would have been so nervous. And yesterday I had so much fun.
Dude, I think you're working on your resolutions.
Thanks.
You are getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, and I think that
thanks.
relates to this as well.
Thanks.
You're on your way. We're only 17 days into the new year.
Whoa. Thanks.
Keep it going.
Meow.
Why do you think you've been so successful so far as a solo artist?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I just try to do the best that I can in everything. And that's not even for people. That's just so I can look back and be like, oh, that was great. Because I hate when stuff is sloppy or,
Do you ever look at people like Justin Timberlake or Beyonce or Michael Jackson or the One Direction guys? You're like, wow, I'm kind of doing what they did. They all left the groups and they went on to be themselves.
Yeah, but I feel like probably every single person had totally different circumstances. Mm-hmm. So it's like, even if we all, came out of a group, it's so, all of those things are so different,
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Well, they're totally different circumstances.
Different situations,
Okay.
different, everything is different.
Like, for example, Beyonce did a solo album, then she went back to the group, then she did solo albums, and they were, huge, it's just different circumstances.
Even what happens in the, the back rooms or whatever, the things that people do not see, every situation is different. I totally get that.
But I feel like the thing that everybody has in common is it doesn't really matter. What matters is when you do your solo thing, you're really starting from scratch as a new artist. Yeah. Because even if you have a fan base or a group of fans that are sticking by you, if you don't deliver good music or whatever, people will forget about you in a few months' time. So it's really just, it's kind of the same. You just have to kind of, well, it's not the same because I had fans that were, I wasn't starting from scratch in like a bar, singing around in bars. So that's great.
But it was a creatively blank canvas, right? Because
for sure.
People knew you, but knew you next to 4 other girls, right?
Yeah.
And they really knew the collective Fifth Harmony. So when it was your time to do your own thing, there's a whole new path to forge, Yeah,
and I also don't think people knew me that much.
That well.
For example, that's what I was saying. Like, everybody knew Beyonce and Destiny's Child.
Yes.
She was already kind of a
thing.
Yeah.
I think people did know you though. That's why when you
Really?
went solo, you've been so successful because people are like, they knew who you were and they're like, oh, she is now by herself.
Oh,
and
well,
you
thanks.
stood out, so people they recognize when you went solo. Like, well, let's see what this is all about now.
Right.
I don't think everyone can do that.
Thanks.
Well, Camila Cabello.
Thanks, guys.
You're the best. I can't believe this conversation started with me comparing you to a golden retriever. That's where this started.
I love that. That was our good luck charm for the rest of the interview.
Dude, I had a really great time talking with you.
No, me too. This was so much fun.
What are you going to do when you turn 21? That's coming up soon, right?
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to do?
I saw
I
that
really
yesterday.
want to take a trip. I want to go to Italy or Spain because I love Italy and
Nice.
Spain.
Experiences, being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
100%. Except I'm real comfortable with that idea.
So when you go, are we going to get a private jet? Are we going to fly first class?
No. I don't know, but I'm getting there somehow. Probably not private jet. We're not there yet.
And you got a tour yet? Do we have dates? Do we know when we're going to start it?
Yeah, definitely a tour coming up, but I can't say the dates.
This year?
Yeah. Oh yeah, very soon.
Cool.
Like first half of the year.
Whoa.
Whoa. Kapoosh.
Do yourself a favor and listen to Camila right now. Pretty Please. It's a really great album. Thank you again for stopping by.
Thanks, guys.
Camila Cabello, everybody.
Yay!